Welcome to the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast with your host, hailing from Kokona, Wisconsin, riding a CST Tires SSI decals traveling back Yamaha YFC 450R, four-time ATV Motocross National Champion, number 25, Cody Jensen.
What's up, everybody?
We're back.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, episode 177 of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, presented by our title sponsor, CST Tires, in stock and available for purchase today at shop.csttires.com. I'm your host, Cody Jansen, saying hello to our more than 300,000 monthly Digging Deep listeners in all 151 countries in which you are listening, and this is our Digging Deep Muddy Creek 2026 race review show. After being a staple on the national tour for decades, ATV Motocross returned to Muddy Creek Raceway for the first time since 2020. The timing couldn't have been more fitting, as the world's premier ATV racing series honored Tennessee's own, the late, great Joe Byrd. In this episode, we'll dive deep into all the action from the Joe Byrd Memorial ATV National at Muddy Creek. But first, let's quickly shout out all of our incredible partners. CST Tires, go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Launderville Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, DP Brakes, and Ultimate Poly Products. UPP Racing, our choice when it comes to case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com. Support all the great companies that support us, and for any products that fall through the cracks, click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. We both know whether it's us or our machines, we always need a little TLC. No matter what off-road gear parts you need, Rocky Mountain ATVMC has you covered. But before you buy, simply click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner on our website. By using our specific link, we get a percentage of what you buy on the back end, enabling you to help us out while purchasing the parts you need anyway. And did you know you can buy OEM parts from Rocky Mountain ATVMC as well? Yep, shipped conveniently right to your door. So click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner at diggingdeepatvmx.com to help us out while satisfying all your gear and parts needs. Shout out to all of our donors, and if you are interested in donating and hearing your name on the show, you can find the Patreon or Buy Me a Coffee donation links on our website. Major thanks to all who have donated, of course. Now, if you can't donate, but you still want to help us out, you can leave us a rating or a review on iTunes and Spotify, because that helps us out a bunch too. Now, it's showtime. The 30-second board is up, it's sideways, and the gate is down. Time to dig deep.
Let's go!
All right, guys, we are back here at the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, back to talk about Muddy Creek 2026. Muddy Creek welcomed the ATV Motocross National Championship Series back, and we can't wait to talk about it here on the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. And you guys already know the crew that we have here tonight. Both of these guys coming to us courtesy of SSI Decals this week, starting off with Mr. Brian Jenkins, Wheels Up, here in the house again for another race review podcast. Brian, thanks so much for being here, pal.
No problem. I really appreciate you having me, and I love to do this. So I'm ready to talk racing and cut it up.
I love it. I love it, man. I wait for these nights talking with you guys about the races. And obviously, you know the other guy, Billy Cottage, joining us here for another race review podcast. Billy, welcome back to the show, pal. And I guess the question remains every week. I'm just trying to figure out which one of these things you're going to be at.
Well, thanks for having me. And, I think I might
Pleasure Valley.
Leave it a secret. It's Pleasure Valley. We all know that's close. So yeah, Pleasure Valley it is.
Did we get any more time on the YFZ?
Yeah, I went and rode Friday.
Nice. Are we getting any more comfortable?
Yeah, I actually texted Brian. I was feeling really good. And then about halfway through my moto, it tsunami'd on me. And I told Brian, I'm like, I was having so much fun. I didn't even stop. I just kept going. And I had a blast. My dad was standing on the side of the track with a towel draped over him, like he was from the Middle East or something, and just having a ball out there in the pouring rain.
You're channeling your inner Chad Wienen. What is your airbox setup like?
It's a full airbox just open on top.
because, we've come a long way since the What If It Rains Ironman,
Oh, yeah.
Nick DeNoble winning Ironman thing, where literally every YFZ was, there was a lot of YFZs out there, but everyone made it, a lap and a half, had to drain itself out and maybe get back going to finish. The airbox thing is always a topic to me when it comes to YFZs, but it seems like we've come a long way in that regard.
That was the first thing my dad said. I came off and he's like, dude, go look at your air filter and see how bad it is. And it was perfectly dry. But, you think about the Honda days back then, you were cutting 3/4 of the airbox off and it was, just the ring was the only thing covered. That's about it.
And I was the opposite. I always ran a full box on my TRX. So like if it rained, vented lid. And if it rained, I rarely had a problem. Like everybody else would drown their bike and my stuff would stay going. But Muddy Creek this past weekend, Joe Byrd Memorial ATV Motocross National there at Muddy Creek, going back there for the first time since the COVID year of 2020, I believe. So it was awesome to be back in Tennessee. I love the track, love the scenery, love the area, kind of being there in the hills of Tennessee is awesome. Exciting time to be back there and honor Joe Byrd, which is cool. All the things going on. We talked about this prior to recording, and I want to touch on this so that they get credit right away. Apex Motorsports, the live stream that they did on YouTube was awesome. We got a chance to be a part of their, partnership, sponsorship a little bit there and help those guys with a little donation and stuff, which was awesome. If every race had that, the ATV motocross community would be better for it. So credit to those guys. Barry, the gentleman behind it, and his team did an awesome job. That was great. I heard about people being at the event and like playing it in their pit, as the radio basically, because it was doubling as the radio. And I thought to myself, man, how cool would that be? Like to have that playing in your pit area, to be able to see the racetrack ahead of time. Like, gosh, awesome. It's like having race day live on at your Supercross rig, and during the day.
I think another one too to mention is adaptive aerial. I think that they were also somehow with that because they had the drones, but it was weird riding through the pits. It took me a while to realize that that's what it was that people were watching. Cause I thought they were watching like, some predecessor to the Supercross, some pre-show or something that was going on. And then I kept looking, I was like, that's ATVs. I was like, that's us. So it took a minute to realize like they're actually already watching that. And I seen the scan code that they had to watch live and everything. And it just didn't compute with everything that was going on until I seen it and was like, oh, I'm an idiot. There it is. But it was awesome. That was really, really cool. I really hope that we have that more and that is available for everyone, because I felt like everything that I heard about it was positive. And the shots were amazing, as anybody could see that's watched it already, especially like when there was good battles. I got to see parts of the track that, normally you're stuck in one area and there's always some blind spots. It was great to see those areas and see passing or lines in those areas that I normally wouldn't get to.
And I was stoked because I was told that this was he was basically donating his time and his effort in doing this. That's why he had reached out to us and said, hey, any donations, on companies like your behalf, like Digging Deep, would go a long way for this. So obviously we were happy to help the little bit that we could and make that happen. But pretty darn cool for somebody to, I think the motivation was to be able to broadcast, the Joe Byrd Memorial Race. So pretty special. He's the same guy that will be doing the Briarcliff race later this year. And, his words were that he hopes to do this more, in the future, looking, to 2027 and beyond. So yeah, I really hope that comes to fruition. But yeah, it gave us a really good look at the racing and angles and the whole track and passes and all the stuff all weekend long, that if you weren't there, you were able to feel like you were, which is a special thing. So guys, Billy, we'll start with you. Biggest takeaway, biggest thing of the weekend. We've been starting some of these recent shows out this way, and I like doing this. So biggest thing as the dust settled on Muddy Creek you were thinking about?
Yeah. I mean, you really put me on the spot. I would say biggest thing.
Doesn't need to be pro class either.
I got two.
I mean,
you can jump in there, Brian, too, if you got.
Yeah, Brian, give me a second.
Okay. Here's what I got. I had my two biggest takeaways are number one, Brandon Hogue. I'm going to say that, and I don't want to go too deep into it yet because obviously we're not there in the coverage, but there was something that I seen, not just with Hogue's riding, but his machine setup, I think was something special. And that was very impressive. And like I said, we can go into that once we get to that. At that point, I've got a lot there. The other thing that I was really impressed with, I've always loved to watch this kid ride because he's just a wild child. But Landon Korn, I always watch him because he's always throwing tricks and doing crazy stuff. I'm going to tell you what, he went straight beast mode. I watched him do some things that I was very impressed with. He rode great and just put it all out there. And it was so impressive to see because there was a couple areas that he did some things that I actually hadn't even seen yet at that point. And I didn't know that the pros and the pro-am guys were doing some of the things that he was doing. And I was like, wow, that was impressive. So my two takeaways were those two guys really impressing me, and their racecraft was on point this weekend. And I don't know if it was just the track as far as, the hard pack, fast track that we finally got to have, but it was definitely in their wheelhouse. And I'll go back to Billy and let him add his now that he's had a little time to think.
All right, Billy, you got cleanup duty.
Okay. So mine was, one of mine was Hoagie, and especially that second moto, but my biggest takeaway is it shows how much I miss, and I don't know if it's everybody, but the hard pack tracks. I mean, it was so cool to see it again, and it made me jealous that I wasn't there. I think we're getting away from that too much, and I don't know if it's because of the tracks trying to make it better for, the larger dirt bike events and stuff, which would make sense for the sand and everything. But when it comes to the ATV side of things, roll that thing in. I think it just makes for better racing, in my opinion. I just loved watching it, the sliding inside, outside, into, it's just old school. That's probably why. But yeah, I think we need to get back to it.
Being there, one of the buzz things that I heard going around the pits was just that, Billy. So many people had said that they really appreciated the fact that, especially the guys that had been there years and years that we know, had said they appreciated the fact that they allowed the track to develop the way it used to. And some of them actually came to me and commented and said, we get what you've been saying about how leave the tracks in those certain areas the way they're meant to develop or what their natural composition is, because it gives you something different at each track that you go to. So they're not busting them in, sand or whatever it is to try and make them all the same. And this track developed like we all remember and loved, and it was awesome. Like everybody appreciated that, and that was the buzz around the pits, was the way it developed, and it gave them such an old school feel that they loved it. It took them back, so they appreciated it.
Yeah, I agree. Kind of piggybacking off of all of that. So Billy had a good point earlier about, the dirt bike races, big dirt bike stuff. Obviously we know they add mulch and sand and all kinds of stuff to those racetracks. And if you remember, I don't know if it was the last time we went to Muddy Creek or if it might even predate that. It probably does, when they had the dirt bike national there just for like a year or two, but they added mulch and they added bark and
I was going to say there was a lot of mulch.
They added all that crap and it sucked. And so I like any track going back to its natural, its natural composition, its natural dirt. And like Brian said, let the track be unapologetically itself. And for ATVs, when ATVs go to a track like Muddy Creek with clay like that, it should develop like that. I love that. I've said on recent shows with you guys that I love the specialty events, and like we talked about, whether it's Washougal for the bikes and the shadows and the hard packs, kind of like we had here for the ATVs, or a sand track like, Etchikani or Southwick or something. I love how that changes things. And that's exactly what you're kind of hitting on here. We used to have so many tracks that developed kind of like this, that it wasn't anything, it wasn't special necessarily. Now we don't have tons of tracks that go this way. So when we have
it to develop.
Exactly. So when we have an Etchicani and a Baja on the schedule, and now we have a Muddy Creek and we have Ironman, which is maybe a little bit more of a hybrid in between. But I love that we have this on the schedule. It just felt right. And I was watching everything play out, especially on Saturday, and thinking, man, it's awesome to be back at Muddy Creek. I love that for ATV racing. So you guys hit the big things. Awesome to see Brandon doing what he's doing. I think really highly of that program. We talked about PRP and Australia racing, and everything seems to really be coming together. And you're seeing Brandon be a guy, not to get too far ahead of ourselves, like Brian said, but be a guy that believes that he's the next guy in line behind Joel Hetrick. So that's fun to see. Max Lindquist doesn't want to let it happen, and that's awesome to see. And the other guys in the top five, we'll talk about it all, but throughout the class, especially that top five, everybody's got some awesome stuff going on. Landon Korn has become the guy in that pro sport class, very much so, like to where it almost seems inevitable the way that he's riding right now. And I find myself, and I don't know how well I've outlined it on recent shows, but I find myself impressed isn't even enough of a word, because we have seen him be loose and we have seen him ride a little erratically. We've said those words already, but the way that he's now done this at every race, looking like the clear guy. I mean, Ironman, the box score doesn't show how dominant he was there too.
Yeah.
So he's making that class look like his. And again, he seems inevitable. That's the word I kept thinking about over the weekend. So he deserves all the credit we've been giving him. The guy I want to mention for my biggest takeaway, and it's going to be outside of the pro class, but it comes right back to this Muddy Creek topic in the hard packed, is Carter Buff. And you guys heard me talk about it in our group text over the course of the weekend. He was the rider. I thought about him coming in. He was the rider over the weekend I was the most excited to watch, because he's a TT specialist. He's a TT pro. So then you put him on a track like Muddy Creek, and he seemed inevitable, and he was having to come up through the pack in every race. He would have won some of those motos if not for having to come through the pack. I mean, we just talked about Landon Korn and how great he's been. And he was, I mean, if he wouldn't have been like throwing the kitchen sink at him in that last lap of the second moto of pro sport for the overall win, we would have seen him on the podium and the whole deal. He was clearly the next guy in line, but he was the fastest guy on track and looked like if he could have made a pass stick that he was going to win that thing. So he deserves a ton of credit. Something happened in the second moto on Sunday. Not sure what that was. Maybe Brian knows because he was there. But he looked fast all weekend. Carter Buff was the guy that I was most excited to watch. After I saw how good he was on the track, I was the most excited to see him in that Pro-Am and Pro Sport class. And he's another guy. Box score does not show how good he was, because, he finished second in the first moto, crashes in the second moto of Pro Sport, finishes, in the top five in Pro-Am first moto, and then second moto, something happens. I think he finished 10th, but Carter Buff was the guy that I came away from the weekend thinking, wow, is it cool that we have a track that he can show his TT skills, riders showing their skills on different tracks, kind of like we already talked about. I love that. And second of all, just was very impressed with his speed on a track like Muddy Creek. So that was really fun.
His ground speed was definitely very fast. Like, I didn't know who he was until I'd sent something out in a text to you guys, and you were like, don't sleep on Buff. And I'm like, who the hell's he talking about? And then I seen him on the track, and I'm like, oh, this guy's wicked fast. So like, Korn was faster because he was putting the bike where he needed it in the air and the setup for the turns, but Buff was reeling him in on the ground because his ground speed was just amazing. And you were right, that second moto, what happened was on the far side of the track, they were coming up the hill and it was wet over there. And so like the track lended itself to, you were kind of like, I guess, fading to the right, and the back end stepped down on him. And he kind of got thrown off guard. And I think he had a little get off over there going into that left-hand turn that would have been the straightaway behind the start.
That's what happened in the Pro Sport second moto.
Yes.
And then I don't know what happened in the Pro-Am second moto, but that was the same corner that he ended up going off track and like taking a relatively hard fall in the first moto of the Pro Sport class. But same thing. I looked at it the exact same thing, Brian. Pro Sport moto, he's like gets a little sideways. He was racing up faster, got a little sideways, went off track, and Corn was right there too. He had nowhere to go.
Yeah.
But went off track. But that was a shame because I'm like, man, he was going to be on the podium for sure. We were going to be able to talk about him. So I just felt like we had to talk about him.
Well, he was fast. He was wicked fast.
Okay, this is the other thing is that you guys didn't know who he was, and he's like raced Pro-Am and Pro Sport for the last like 2 years at basically every race.
Really?
Yes. So that shows how good the number 192 wears Thor gear. Maybe that's why I notice him always. But and I'm a TT guy at heart. So like that's why I'm like, okay, for a guy that's kind of mid-pack Pro-Am Pro Sport to come out at a Muddy Creek and do what he did shows how awesome it is that we can have tracks like this, that there's some variation. I love that. So cool. Yeah. Let's shift back to the pro class though. So qualifying kind of goes chalk. I think we say that every week, but that big five, right? We're going to see some variation of that big five when we look at qualifying. I think that's where your at least highest peak speed is. It was fun though. Not that we need to go too in depth with qualifying, but it was fun to watch it play out because, in the beginning of the first one, Brandon and Joel are going back and forth, and all of a sudden Joel goes 2 seconds faster than he had went previously. He goes 2 seconds faster than everybody else. That's how it stays. He's 2 seconds faster than the field in the first qualifier. Brandon finds a second in the second qualifier and makes it just a 1 second gap. But it goes Joel, Brandon, Zach, Max Lindquist, and Mason Jackson, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in qualifying. And heading into that first moto, man, I knew that people were going to be crafty. The track was awesome, but there is one thing about Muddy Creek. There's not like oodles of passing areas. So you really got to make it happen when you're going to pass there. And that, I think Billy actually said when we kind of sat down for this conversation, the lack of tons of passing spots made for really good racing. So going into that first moto, I was curious. At a track like that, you're obviously more conscious of who's going to get the whole shot, right? That's probably one of the most exciting times in these pro motos is who's going to get the whole shot, start up front, maybe make things difficult for Joel or anybody else that's trying to make their way to the front. So there's a big precedence on the whole shot, as always, obviously, but definitely on a track like this. So going up the start straight, it looked like Brandon and Joel we saw a little bit of this at Ironman too.
They were rubbing a lot.
Yeah, they were. You could see it on the video really well. They were bumping and banging for that first corner to get to that first corner first and rip the whole shot. Brandon ended up getting the short end of the stick there. Joel ends up getting the whole shot. Brandon second, and Noah Arnold was third at the beginning of that first moto, and that was fun to see the rookie. We're seeing the rookie, and I think of Billy every time we talk about Noah and Brian too. We've been talking about him a lot. You guys have been highlighting him a lot, dating back to even before the first race. But we've seen a lot of the rookie, and we're starting to see him a little bit more up front here and there. It's those starts, and he's always been a good starter, and you guys said that was going to happen, but it's another hurdle to do it in the pro class. And we're seeing that already in his rookie season.
Yeah. It's nice to see him start up there, get a little taste of, he can latch onto some of them guys and see what they're doing. And it's going to take a little time, but it's definitely going in the right direction.
Seeing him running inside the top three, Brian, is a pretty cool thing.
It absolutely is. And I had this conversation and talked about, I feel like Noah's one of the few people that can whole shot consistently with Joel. Mm-hmm. I feel that way because I've watched him a long time. We're seeing what he's doing. He just seems to have that knack and that consistency and just that natural ability that puts him there. Mm-hmm. Because we all know it's much easier to get past than it is to pass sometimes in those. So for him to get up there and do like what Billy is saying, see those guys, latch onto him if he can. He had some great rides going. He did make some mistakes. He's learning, he's figuring things out. And line choice this weekend, I'm going to tell you once we start getting deeper into some of these guys, mm-hmm. and especially since we could see it because the footage was so good, you could see certain things that certain people were doing and the line choices and what they were able to do because of their setups and what it allowed, the positions that it put them in and allowed them to be in because of it, because they were much quicker for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. And the thing to be said about starting up front, like he's been doing, is then it starts to become normal being around those guys. There's an expectation that comes, like I get good hole shots. I'm going to get a good hole shot every time up to the gate here. And you see that speed. You see that speed firsthand of those top 5 guys. And like a sponge, like a rookie is, like a sponge, he's going to pick up on what they do better than him. And I think that we're already seeing that. And we're seeing that expectation that he thinks he's going to get good hole shots in every moto, precursor here or a teaser to the second moto. He gets the hole shot. So pretty darn impressive. Guys, we haven't touched on this yet, but Billy, we saw Wesley Wolf make his comeback to the ATV Motocross Nationals this weekend. I was entrusted with a little info last week that was going to happen, but it was awesome to see him out there. And then right away, at the start, in qualifying, in the motos, at the start of this one, he was running inside the top 5, looked like, and it's hard. I kept thinking to myself, Wesley Wolf is so gnarly and he doesn't think deeply about anything. He's just back out there and, ready to go. But I thought to myself, I'm like, man, it's it would be intimidating for the other guys to be in mid-season form. And, you're watching these guys thriving and whatever, and to just jump in there knowing Wesley probably has barely any riding time, and we just know how Wesley is, and he picks up where he left off, looking like perennial top 5 guy, never missed a beat. And we saw it in this moto, we see it in the next one, we saw it all day long. I don't know, that guy is a modern marvel, man.
One thing I did notice though, he reeled it in a little bit. He wasn't as loose as what he normally is as far as with hanging it out there and letting the bike slide out, step out. He was controlled and contained, believe it or not. At least that's the way I felt, because he rode some good lines and obviously some good laps, but he wasn't, throwing it all over the track like normal and expending that energy like he had a ton to burn. He was riding smart.
Give it a little time, Brian. Give it a little time.
I know. And I expected that. That's why I kept an eye on him, because I was so excited to see him there, because we seen his rig pull in. And I'm like, no way. Here we go. This is about to get really interesting, because I thought, I wonder if Cody knew about this to add him to the list, because I didn't pick, I don't think, till Saturday morning or whatever it was. Thanks. But I was happy to see him there, and I love to watch him ride, because he does. He throws it all out there and lets it hang out and gets crazy over the jumps and brake tapping and everything else, So his style is very unique.
He does it unlike anybody else I've ever seen, and it's so fun to watch.
And the pro class needed it, man. The pro class needed Wesley Wolf in there as another guy to watch and another guy to be to play a wild card, try to put a wrench in everybody's plans. And I love to see that. We're definitely going to see him at more races, and excited to see what that looks like going forward. Stoked for him to be out there for JH and everything that means for the JH program. So that's really cool too. So that first moto, he was a rider to really watch in both motos, but Max Lindquist was one of the riders to watch, because he and Zach Decker, they were both having to race up through the pack a little bit. So like I said, I actually commented this or posted this during the play-by-play at one point on Facebook, but Max Lindquist, all of a sudden, he was freaking rolling. The guys that he was around, it looked like he had another gear that they didn't have. And I had said that the number 2 looked like the Jeremiah Jones number 2 for a little bit there in that first moto. He was racing up through the pack, clawing his way from outside the top 5 all the way inside the top 5 up to the top 3 by moto's end. Zach Decker too, he was racing up through the pack. Wesley Wolf, we talked about him racing up through the pack or racing up inside the top 5, which was awesome. Mason Jackson didn't probably have the moto that he was looking for, ended up finishing outside the top 5. But was this the moto that he got tangled with another rider and ended up sitting backwards? I think it was.
It was him and Decker, right?
Decker was rolling really well. They had a battle going, and Zach put a really good move on him.
This was the moto that happened for sure, because at one point for the first half of the moto, Mason Jackson was inside the top 3. I know he was. So this is the moto where he got tangled with Zach, like you said, and ended up sitting backwards on the track and lost that time because he ends up falling to 5th and then eventually 6th. So the box score doesn't tell you how good Mason was in this moto, whether he got tight or whatever happened. There was some craziness that went on there that, kind of prompted him to fall down the list a little bit, but it's not like he just rode around in 6th in this moto. He was
he was rolling.
Top 3. Yeah, for sure.
I will say the pass by Decker was beautiful.
Yeah. That was a nice pass. It was. He set that up in the air and he, everything about that. When he crossed over, that was it's like he tested it like 2 laps before that. And I'm like, oh, it's coming. It's coming. Yeah. And I knew that was going to be a spot, that little off camber there. Max was going wide there too for some laps. And I thought, okay, this is going to be an opportunity. Oh, not just Max, but a couple of the guys you would see, because what they were trying to do, they were trying to get all the way over that tabletop. And unless they jumped from kind of like right to left, it put them on the outside. And then they fought that off camber. So that was a difficult turn.
That's a difficult turn every year. As long as you go to Muddy Creek, that's a difficult turn to try to make it to the inside and kind of hold your line, cover that line. And again, that's what I love about tracks like Muddy Creek, where you can, especially the pros, right? They have enough laps where you can run in a line of your own. And that's something that Digger Doug Gus told me years and years and years ago. He's like, if I didn't, see a line there I liked, I would just take some time and make a line that I liked. And that's kind of what you're talking about, what you're seeing here. So that's a really cool thing. Guys that deserve credit and a shout out here. Adam Ulrich, 7th in this moto. That's kind of that, especially with Wesley Wolf in there. I mean, that 6th, 7th spot, that's a really good place to be in this class right now. Adam Ulrich finishing 7th in that moto was really impressive there. And then Heath Hanna deserves a shout out for a top 10 finish in that first moto. So he had a strong ride as well. But at the finish, it was Joel Hetrick plus 8 seconds over Brandon Hogue, plus 15 seconds over Max Lindquist. We know Max Lindquist had to race up through the pack to get there. Zach Decker finished 4th, Wesley Wolf 5th, Mason Jackson 6th. We'll get right back to the show, but now a word from our sponsors. And thank you for listening to these ads. Without these great companies, none of this would be possible. Show your support for the people who support us. The official tire choice of Digging Deep, CST tires are the choice of ATV racing's elite on the track, in the woods, and every other terrain. CST tires swept the ATV racing world in 2022 as Joel Hetrick, Bryson Neal, and Bo Barron rode their Pulse MXR and Pulse HT tires to an ATV Pro Motocross title, GNCC XC1 Pro title, and 10th ATV Pro Works Racing title, respectively. Led by champion Joel Hetrick and podium contenders Bryce Ford, Jeffrey Rastrelli, and Nick Janusa, CST's Pulse MXR tire is the most trusted tire in ATV motocross today. Available in soft and standard compounds, the Pulse MXR offers the highest level of traction, most predictable cornering, and superior wear characteristics when compared to the competition. And did I mention they have a contingency program as well? Visit shop.csttires.com to join the CST takeover today, or prepare to be beat by someone who did. The best of the best choose CST. Do you? You know we're Team Blue Crew here at the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, as the Yamaha YFZ 450R is the official ATV of Digging Deep. In a move started by 8-time ATVMX Pro Class National Champion Chad Wienen, who with his next championship will become the winningest champion in ATV motocross history, we are living in ATV racing's YFZ 450R era. Alongside Wienen, 7-time GNCC XC1 Pro ATV National Champion Walker Fowler welcomed a pair of new champions to the Yamaha Champions Club, as the podium-proven Yamaha YFZ 450R proved to be the winning choice for Joel Hetrick and Bryson Neal. This unprecedented success for the YFZ 450R, its unrivaled quality and performance, and the clear fact that Yamaha is the leading OEM supporter of ATV racing has resulted in a complete Yamaha takeover within the sport quad market. Evident by the continuation of Yamaha's Blue Crew Racer Support Program, Yamaha riders will once again cash in on payout and prize opportunities in 2023, including a chance to win a brand new YFZ 450R. For more info, head over to YamahaBlueCrew.com. Follow Yamaha Outdoors, as well as the new Blue Crew official channel on social media, and check out Yamaha's full proven off-road lineup at YamahaOutdoors.com today. SSI Decals, your way. SSI Decals sets the standard with the best looking decals, graphics kits, and vinyl wraps in the industry. Established in 1947, SSI took shape as an offshoot of their parent company by doing a little work for local pro Chad Wienen. Nearly 2 decades later, and fueled by a passion for ATVs, the company has flourished into one of ATV Moto's most recognized brands. From ATV Motocross, SSI has expanded into graphics and design work for top racers in GNCC, Works Racing, Pro Motocross and Supercross, Off-Road, and more, headlined by 8-time world champion Top Fuel drag racer Clay Milliken. Whether your project is big or small, SSI Decals will make your identity stick. Get started today at ssidecals.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 for 10% off at checkout. Things are about to get sick. The Digging Deep ATVMX podcast is brought to you in part by DID and their wide range of championship-winning chains. From the street to the track and everywhere in between, DID chains are designed to give you the optimal riding experience with great performance and increased chain life. Consistent to the core, pick up your box of reliability today. DID, what drives you? Shifting gears then to Moto 2, guys, and we kind of touched on this already. This guy, Noah Arnold, he knows how to hole shot. He's a hole shot artist, like Brian kind of said. He's always had that ability. And we saw some young guys at the front right away because it was Noah at the point. It was Joey Norris in second, making this look like a Pro-Am race. And Joel Hetrick was sitting in third at that time. And again, pretty cool. We talked about him already, getting hole shots and stuff. But Noah Arnold was credited with a lap led, which is pretty freaking awesome as a rookie. It's been a little while since we've seen that. So Noah Arnold led that first lap. Joel Hetrick was sitting in the 2 spot, eventually getting the pass made there on the second lap. So Joel goes to the front early on in that second moto. And then it was Lindquist, Decker, Hogue, eventually, as we saw some things shake themselves out there at the front of the pack. And that Lindquist, Decker, Hogue battle, very similar to Iron Man Moto 2, but that Lindquist, Decker, Hogue battle was the race to watch that whole second moto. Yet again, I found myself like, man, 2 weeks ago, we saw this exact battle and I couldn't be more excited to see it right now. I don't know what you were thinking, Billy, as it was going on, but I guess the way that Brandon, who's been the number 2 guy now, I'm very confident in saying that, but the fact that he was going to have, he was at the bottom of that totem pole and then having to race up to it and was going to, if he was going to get past them, going to have to overcome those guys on a track that isn't the easiest to pass on. I was here for what we were going to get from that battle, and it lived up to the hype.
I was ready for it too. And, we've touched on it a couple of times how it's a track that's hard to pass, but a track like that does lend itself to, there's a lot of places where you can make up time, not necessarily make a pass in them. And when I saw him coming, I knew it was almost inevitable that you knew he was going to make it to the runner-up spot because he was on a different level. And I think Brian even said that was a statement ride by him. And it's true because he knew he was going to get it. We knew he was going to get it, and he made it happen.
That being said, Brian, it took until, how many laps was he behind Max? A good handful. And it took until the white flag came out, spoiler, took him till the white flag came out for Brandon to be able to overcome Max. And then after the moto, we hear Max say, man, I knew he was trying to make that inside, racing up the hill, up the whole shot straightaway, basically that hairpin up there. He said Brandon was trying to hug the inside and, not jump out too wide there, which naturally that jump wants to do to you. We all know it. We've all felt it. But Brandon made that pass stick after, because Max knew he wanted to do it there and still couldn't hold it off.
He tried to tuck it in there a couple of times.
That's what I'm saying. And so then for Max to know he wanted to do it and still let Brandon do it. That's saying something, that Brandon really made it happen.
For sure.
But again, it took a lot of laps. For him to make it stick, Brian.
Listen, you guys both know, we both have heard him say this. Brandon watched Hetrick videos over and over and over again.
I didn't hear him say it. I watched him do it.
So that's what I was going to take you to. And Cody, you're going to know this right away. So we're going to go back, and who used that same move against Chad how many years right there was Joel. He juked him right. He finally got him to go right because he heard the bike. He went up there wide into that turn. And when Chad went to, block that line, he ducked so tight inside. And I felt like Brandon just mimicked that to a T. He got Zach there, 5 laps before. Exactly. And then he just worked that in for Max, that he kept pulling him out to where, bam, there it was. Because I had 2 spots where I thought, it's one of these two. It's one of these two. He's going to make it happen, because what I led into earlier was I was watching Brandon ride, and I was like, that bike is handling like perfect. He's going inside and outside mid-turn. He was switching it up on people, and he was doing things like when he was behind Zach, it started pushing Zach, and then he passed Zach, and then Zach for a while changed his lines up and was following Brandon because Max actually had gapped them both. And I thought, man, I don't know, that's a pretty big gap. I wonder, how this is going to pan out. Yeah. Well, then they both like freight trained and started reeling Max in like crazy. But then Zach kind of started going back to his previous lines in a few spots that he thought was working, and they really weren't. Like he would creep up on Brandon midway through the turn, but the drive out was where the time was made. So Brandon used that. And I, like Billy said, I called it. I said, if Brandon catches Max and passes him, this is like a statement ride, because that was masterful to make up from how far he originally started back and be able to do that and catch him. And like you said, it was the 2-lap board comes out and he's all over him and he's working him and he's setting things up. And that's why I kept watching him, where he was going and where he was ducking, and he was remembering. He was planning it out. And then when he made the move, it was like, it didn't even mean anything. He just gapped and kept going. Like he was so smooth about stuff, because something else that we hadn't touched on yet was there was a lot of time to be made on the quad, because not everybody was doing the quad. Correct. And not everybody was doing the quad smoothly. There was a handful of guys that could actually do it lap after lap and make it look easy and be able to either go inside or outside, depending upon where the hole was that moto, or that, at that point in time during the moto. So, that was a statement ride. It was amazing. I mean, I can't imagine the emotions that Brandon felt doing that, because that was impressive. He came from way back. I mean, we all seen it and watched it, and it was like he was playing chess and everybody else was playing checkers at that point.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you hit on so much, like the pass that he made. I said the same thing, and I believe we posted it in the play-by-play, was that Brandon used the exact same corner, the exact same way that he got Zach. And when he got Zach, I'm like, okay, he's 3 to 4 seconds behind Max right now. And that can be a really long time on a track like that. And again, Blue Group can be slippery. Like it can take just one mistake and it's like, okay, I'm not going to get there. And then you just run, you just ride it home. And Brandon,
did you see when Brandon tried to stick it in after the triple on the finish line straight, he tried to stick it in. I thought, man, I don't know if he lost too much time there, because he gapped him a a little bit. And he was, by the time they got to the shelf to drop back down,
he was already back
again.
Yeah. Just like we saw Deegan do later that night. Like he shot his load too early. And that's what I was thinking for a second. And Brandon got right back there and made it happen. There's the thing too, and you touched on the 2-lap board coming out, and I'm thinking like, okay, now when you've spent even, 3, 4, 5 laps behind somebody, and now the 2-lap board comes out and you're like, I have to go now. Like I really have to do it now. I'm running out of time now. And he still just made it happen, made the pass stick, and then kept on keeping on. Max only finished behind him a second at the finish. So it's not like he gave up or anything, but I'm impressed by both of those guys. But again, the way that Brandon made the pass on Zach in that corner at the top of the hill, made up the time, got up alongside Max there again, did that as well. That was a statement ride. Impressive. impressed by those guys for sure. And you talked about the quad as well. And you're exactly right. There was multiple people doing the quad, but like we saw it with Noah Arnold, if you didn't stick the landing,
I was going to bring that up.
Corner perfectly. If you went off track, which is what we saw Noah do, you might as well triple it at that point, so you had to grease that thing, and that's a slippery corner to begin with. And they were coming in at 1,000,000 miles an hour, having done that quad. I mean, that was a massive jump. The guys that had it perfectly though. But there wasn't much room for error. There was definitely not room.
And that was a hard jump. It had like a weird takeoff to it,
which it always has. It's like a mound instead of a nice takeoff. Yeah.
Every once in a while, it would want to boner air you out like out of nowhere.
Yeah.
Because we were watching actually Landon. Korn was trying to get it figured out. Yeah. And he'd do it perfect one time. And then I'm like, oh my God, please stop. You're going to kill yourself out there. He was all over the place. And shoot him left, shoot him right, shoot him out into the field, And it was a difficult jump to master.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that was another spot out there. And it was one of those spots. It was it was like one of the very only places on the track where guys were doing different stuff. So it made it very interesting, but yeah, the guys that had a dial that made up a lot of time. Guy we haven't touched on yet, Juan Ondichu. Wani had a really good ride in this one, ends up 9th in this one. So he deserves a shout out. We talked about Wesley Wolf racing up inside the top 5. He ends up 6th in this one. Mason Jackson makes the pass for 5th there, but Wesley Wolf again, riding inside the top 5 for a lot of both motos. So great addition. And like I said, kind of a wild card to this pro class. Love to have him out there. We talked about Brandon Hogue making the pass on Max Lindquist late in the moto. And at the finish, it's Joel Hetrick +6 over Brandon Hogue. And then Max Lindquist right there in tow. Zach Decker 4th and Mason Jackson 5th, like I said. So overall, Joel Hetrick. I feel like we haven't even talked about Joel that much at this point.
I was just thinking the same thing.
We haven't talked about Joel that much, but it's a hard pack track, right? So we know he thrives at the hard pack tracks more than anywhere. Not that he doesn't thrive everywhere, but those are the ones where he's the very best, I feel like. We talked about that. Perfect season is intact so far. 80th overall win, 126th overall podium. Yeah, I don't know what else there is to say about the guy, but the guy's been awesome and now has 80 wins in his career. The goals are, he's like we've said, he's rewriting the history books every weekend out. And some of those goals that he's got circled are getting closer and closer now as he's got 80 wins to his name. 80. That's just nuts. He went pro in 2011. Do quick math, right? 10 races a year. He's probably raced in about 150 pro races. He's been on the podium 126 times. And those races where he wasn't on the podium are just because he blew up motors early in his career or he crashed and burned, as he was racing his way to the front. He's won more times than he's lost for sure in the pro class.
It's wild to see, especially there, like you said, hard pack track, and it's because badass TT rider back in the day. Also, exactly. I'm sure when he decides to lay it down for a lap or two, everybody. You could think, oh, they're keeping him in his sights and stuff, and then he lays two laps down, and he got an 8-second lead. You're like, dude,
all I could do is think about the qualifying, right? Like I laughed when he's like, okay, I'm messing around with Brandon. We're battling for pole.
Right.
And
I have to go faster now.
Everybody's going 146, I believe it was. And he just goes, okay, bet 144.
Yeah.
What? How do you find 2 seconds?
He comes around and look at the lap, see the pit board, and he's like, all right, well, I guess I got to go a little faster. And then,
we just said last week, Brian, how he, it's like, okay, anybody, anytime, any era, I want to beat them and I want to rub their nose in it.
Yeah. I was gonna tell you guys too, because I got to see it firsthand. I was parked right beside the big uphill.
I have beef with the big uphill.
Because it was not big anymore.
But you know what I'm saying? So you jumped down, they had like a little table, and then you went down, and what they did, they pushed that turn out, and there was a big hay bale, and it was just a round flat track style turn that horseshoed all the way back and brought you back straight towards, the uphill, and then you had to make a left to go to the finish line. Mm-hmm. Joel, it was amazing to see because everybody's on the gas hard, right, to get over the table, and then they go down the hill and they're, When Joel got down there, he was already sideways. He was wide open, and he just you remember Tokyo Drift? Han was going around the girl's car and he was just so in control and just like so nonchalant. That was Joel around that hay bale. Like, I felt like he could have reached out and just put stickers on it while he was going through up and around it, wide open the whole time. Controlled. So the flat track absolutely came into play because there wasn't too many guys that was comfortable enough to go sideways set up into that with the speed they were carrying. And Joel did, like, whenever he wanted. It was crazy.
I was just thinking about this weekend, and again, TT vibes. You know, Joel Hatchick's been doing this forever, and actually, one of the gentlemen who was doing the announcing owned Birch Creek. Talked about Joel as a little kid racing at Birch Creek, and I just had these visions of like Joel on a blue little Hatchick racing JB 70 or 90 mod, whatever, but with the little go-kart tires on them. 20-ish years later, here we are, just like old times. Joel Hatchick punking everybody on a dry, hard pack track. I love it. So it's a tale as old as time. 80 wins again. 80 wins. Just it's hard to even wrap your head around how many weekends you have to line up to get there. Even if you win every time, like which he kind of is at that point now. But yeah, that's just unreal. So 80 wins for Joel Hatchick, another 1-1 performance, perfect season intact, all the things. Brandon Hogue, 2-2 on the day. We talked about it ad nauseum. 2-2 on the day, another second place finish. And Brandon, don't look now. And I talked to Dave Porter about this, but Brandon putting together a really good stretch here. They talked about how many races it may take to get kind of up into the P2 spot in the points and all the things. Looking at the points right now, Joel Hatchick 210, Zach Decker and Max Lindquist are tied with 158 for the second spot, and Brandon Hogue's only 7 points back there, sitting in fourth. So everybody there in a good spot, and that's going to be a fun battle for the top three in points there, and what that potentially may mean for Team USA. Like, there's some really juicy stuff going on there.
Motivation. There's motivation there for all four of those guys. There's extreme motivation.
I love it, man. That is extremely exciting. So Brandon Hogue 2-2, Max Lindquist 3-3, puts together an awesome day. The box score does not say with any of these guys how competitive the racing was.
Max rode amazing. He looked like Chad out there. He didn't do very many things wrong. He was smoking fast. Absolutely.
I looked at Max's day, and I don't necessarily think of him as a hard pack guy, but again, we've talked about this. He's been really good at some of these hard pack tracks. Briar Cliff, some of these tracks he's been really good at, but that's just not where I think about him being at his best. I think of the rougher tracks where he's really shines. But man, did he look impressive on this day. Cannot say enough good things about Max for this performance.
And Zach too. Zach was amazing. Zach was so fast, so smooth. I mean, he was right there. Yeah. He really was.
Honestly, none of the guys, you can't really knock any of them for anything throughout the day. I mean, everybody rode really well.
There's some really good stories here.
Yeah, really pretty flawlessly for the most part. There wasn't a whole lot of, big bonehead mistakes or anything like that.
No, there wasn't. I mean, Mason wasn't going to be stoked with that first moto, finishing sixth when he was running in the top three.
That's true.
But other than that, you're exactly right. There was a lot of really good rides going on. We talked about it, Ironman. Zach doesn't finish on the podium there for the first time, but I was as impressed with his race there as anywhere. And it's a very similar day here, racing inside the top 3 to 5, finishing 4-4, really impressive. We talked about Mason Jackson, ends up 5th on the day, 6-5. Wesley Wolf finishes 5-6. So he's right there in his debut on the season. 6th overall is awesome. Noah Arnold ends up 7th overall on the day, 8-7 for 7th overall. That second moto was really impressive because he gets the whole shot. Things start happening really fast for him. He goes off the track like we talked about, goes back to 5th-ish, and then he totally solidifies himself in 5th. Like, he ran 5th for the majority of that second moto, which I found to be really impressive. Eventually gives way to obviously really good guys and Mason Jackson and Wesley Wolf, and then finds himself right there in that 7th place spot in the second moto and hunkers down 7th overall on the day. A little bit of a quiet day for Joey Norris, 9-8 for him, 8th overall. Adam Ulrich goes 7-10 for 9th overall. Wani goes 11-9 for 10th overall. Cale Deal goes 12-11 for 11th overall. Heath Hanna didn't have the second moto that he wanted because he had a really good first moto, finishes inside the top 10. I think something happened in the second moto. He redeems himself on Sunday, but 10-13 on the day for 12th overall. Marshall Smith goes 13-12 for 13th overall. For over 150 years, Valvoline has been dedicated to constant improvement and innovation across all disciplines of racing. As a proud member of Team Valvoline for nearly a decade, I have witnessed their unwavering commitment to pushing the boundaries of performance. Valvoline has sponsored some of the greatest names in motorsports, solidifying their position as a powerhouse within the industry. Being a part of this historically great team has been an incredible privilege. When it comes to my equipment, whether it's my daily commuting vehicles, race quads, or anything in between, I trust nothing but Valvoline. Their range of products and lubricants consistently deliver increased horsepower, durability, and engine life. I'm excited to announce Valvoline's breakthrough in performance, Valvoline Ultimate Power Sports. With up to 8 times stronger rust protection and 50% better wear protection, this cutting-edge formula ensures your ATV's engine runs smoother and longer for the ultimate ride. Tackle rugged terrains with confidence knowing your ATV's engine is equipped with the best protection available. Ready to experience the next level of performance? Head over to shop.valvolineglobal.com and use code DIGGINGDEEP10 at checkout to unlock an exclusive 10% off on your purchase. Don't miss out on this limited time offer to enhance your ATV's performance with Valvoline's Ultimate Power Sports engine oil.
Hey everyone, this is Larry Mills, president of DP Brakes North America and proud partner of the Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast. We at DP Brakes are a longtime supporter of ATV racing and the world leader in sintered brake technology, dominating the ATV world for decades by supporting the best four-wheel racers on the planet. This year's lineup includes Jeff Rastrelli, Mark Baldwin and Baldwin Motorsports, Ford Brothers Racing, Nick Janusa, and many more, including Mr. Digging Deep himself, Cody Jansen, plus all the top 17 GNCC pros such as 7-time champion Walker Fowler, Bryson Neal, Hunter Hart, Cole Richardson, Jared McClure, Adam McGill, and previous champion Chris Borich. These top riders continue to appreciate the high performance and impressive durability that their DP brakes have to offer, products that ultimately help place them on top of the podium week after week. DP brakes are available through www.dp-brakes.com, or you can purchase them through your local Parts Unlimited stocking dealer, or you can even message us, myself, Larry Mills, or DP Brakes on Instagram or Facebook. And if you have any questions about product or sponsorship support, please ask us. We are waiting for you. Join the best ATV riders in the world equipped with DP brakes, and have a great year, everyone.
Headlined by their 4130 Chromoly, Launderville Steel and Concrete Supply is a full-service steel supplier of new and surplus steel, aluminum, and stainless steel products. This racing family-owned full metal service center and concrete product supplier comes with over 30 years of experience serving the entire United States from their central Midwest location. As the number one choice for nationwide shipments and with available next-day delivery in select areas, LSE has you covered near or far. 4130 is not just the chromoly tubing and plate used in the building of chassis for an array of motorsports applications, but it is also the name of the newest addition to the pro paddock with riders Jaden JJ Launderville and Max Lindquist, introducing the new 4130 Motorsports team. Launderville Steel offers a large selection of material for any project, including their concrete division that can supply everything you need to complete your next business or personal project. For a quote or more info, visit laundervillesteel.com today or give them a call at 715-675-6193. That's 715-675-6193. With the desire to keep you in the race, Ultimate Poly Products offers the Ultimate Protection collection of case savers, chain sliders, intake manifolds, and more. Founded on quality in 1998, this family-owned and operated business produces products created by racers for racers. These industry-leading products are proudly made and manufactured in the USA, with their case savers being made of the highest quality American-made polyurethane on the market and designed to completely conform to your engine case to help prevent case damage from a thrown chain, because no one wants to be a spectator on race day. Join top pro riders like Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler, John Glotta Jr., Adam McGill, Cole Richardson, and more by using UPP Racing products. Use discount code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com to save on your next order. Ultimate Poly Products, made to last longer so you can ride more. Thanks for listening, and remember to support our partners. Now back to the show. So guys, I think we should probably get into the amateur racing a little bit. Well, I guess we can go right into Pro-Am. So Noah Arnold put together a masterful day in Pro-Am, goes 1-1. Heath Hanna, I said he redeemed himself on Sunday. He goes 3-2 for second overall, which is really impressive. And Landon Korn goes 2-5. We talked about how impressive he's been on the season so far. He goes 2-5 to be on the podium there in Pro-Am. But guys, and Brian, maybe you know a little bit about this. You were kind of enlightening us before we hit record here, but the defending champion and the guy who's leading the points coming in, Joey Norris, doesn't race there. And we had so many questions, but doesn't race there in Pro-Am. What do we know about that?
So my guess on that is we had a beautiful track Friday and Saturday. Coming into Sunday, for whatever reason, it's supposed to be the nicest day of the weekend. Yep. Supposed to be sunny, warm, and they just overwatered the track. There's no covering that up. They just doused the track with water. Rather, it was, I don't know if it was an attempt to not have to maintain or expected maybe try and get through the day or deeper into the day without doing anything. But to be honest, it took away, at least I'll speak for me, from my experience, because I had an early moto, like Moto 4 that day. And it was, for me, I'll say it was crap. I mean, it was follow the leader because the lines wouldn't develop. It was just oversaturated. And I think what happened when Joey went out, obviously for their qualifying that morning, it was that track. It was horrible.
Oh, really?
And I'm thinking that he probably just said, yeah, no, this, it's not worth it. It's not happening, because it was a muddy mess. The guys that came off the track through practice and all the way into, I will say the track didn't develop till like Moto 10 or 12 area that on Sunday morning. So I think that might have been what happened, that Joey just said, yeah, I'm not trying to go out there on a hard packed track with that much water on it and garbage, the lines weren't there and the racing wasn't going to be there.
Gotcha. So that's unfortunate if that's the reason. And I hope that it wasn't something else too. Like, I'm glad he's not hurt or something. But just to not see him out there. I mean, we said on the previous episode coming in, I was very excited for the Joey Norris, Noah Arnold battle for this Pro-Am title, battle for these Pro-Am races that we might see here. And then we didn't get that on Sunday. So that was a shame, but Noah Arnold goes 1-1, Heath Hanna 3-2, and Landon Korn 2-5. Speaking of Landon Korn, and you guys are great to ask about this because both of you assembled the perfect fantasy team. So you had the perfect fantasy team of Joel Hetrick, Brandon Hogue, Zach Decker, and Adam Ulrich. And then your fifth rider is Landon Korn. And Landon Korn delivered in the Pro Sport class on Saturday, goes 1-1. Fun to see Jeremiah Newton. Jeremiah Newton and Landon Korn are from a very similar area, Eastern Illinois, Kentucky area. So they've raced together a million times. They raced together on this day at the front of the Pro Sport class. So cool to see Jeremiah Newton go 3-3 for second overall. Michael Perkins goes 7-2 for third overall. So that was super cool to see. But you guys had it dialed with the Landon Korn pick in the Pro Sport class there. And he delivered for both of you guys, coming up with perfect fantasy teams on the weekend.
Yeah, he did me solid this weekend. There was no chain issues. There was no problems. And I want to tell you, I said earlier that he was doing some things that were very impressive. Yeah. I want to tell you what he did where he made all his passes.
Yeah, let's hear
was it. After the finish line straight, there was that triple at the end of it, and you made a right-hand turn and then that left into that uphill, the stepped section.
Yeah,
double. Landon was the only person I seen do it. He went to the inside and was pulling up on the bars as hard as he could and tripling like what the guys were doing from the outside. He wasn't getting all the way over, but he could get the front wheels over it enough that he was able to take the line and have the inside line. He made, I can't even tell you how many passes over there. It was crazy. Every lap he made a pass there until he was in the lead.
That's awesome.
So he had it figured out and was dialed, and that was super impressive. And I'm glad that he had a stellar weekend and was able to show what he was capable of and his abilities, and no mechanical issues and failures or whatnot. He rode great and had a great track for it. So that was very, very cool for him.
That was a cool section because like where we used to have just like a little step up, little tabletop deal, like that was really cool to have a section where you could actually make passes and do something different than the rider next to you. I was actually really stoked about seeing that section there. That was a fun section to watch. So let's put a bookmark in the fantasy talk and go to Brian with WMX.
Don't be salty about the fantasy talk.
No. We're coming back to the fantasy talk. We're coming back to it. But Brian, WMX, we saw Lily Plaza go 1-1 again. Fryer goes 2-2, and Neve Shaw comes back. Kind of local race for those guys racing there at Muddy Creek. She goes 4-3 to put it on the podium. So a podium we haven't seen yet. That's a first. So that's a cool deal there, Brian. I'll let you take it from there.
Yeah. I was really happy to see Neve come back. I didn't know what to expect with her being on the Yamaha, because I'm used to her being on the hybrid. So I was kind of excited to see her ride and see like what she thought of it and how well she did. She seemed to take to it very well and had a great race for the WMX. I did get to talk to, just so you guys know, since you
Fryer
hit me up so hard. So Lane, I did not get with Lane, but I did get with Gracie, and I had a sit down talk with her.
Nice. So
Gracie is a young girl. She is from out like the Midwest area, little Southern Belle, very polite. This is her first year racing anything major. Like she said that they went one time to Underground for something that was like non-points paying, was the only time that she had hit like a big outdoor track. Normally, I guess they do indoors for like horse arenas and different areas that they actually put a track in. It's very small.
Okay.
So this is her first go at nationals. Like I said, she's very quiet, very cute, like adorable young girl that she's excited to do this and very into it, her family. So I was very impressed. I had to coax a lot out of her. She was kind of shy, but she's going to be one to watch. She's very good family. I feel like they're getting their toes wet right now to see how it goes and what it's all about. And that's impressive for her to come out and just swing at it at a national track and as big as these are in the jumps, because it doesn't sound like she's ever really done anything like that.
And she's been in the mix.
And yes, she does. She has good rides. And then, there might be a mistake that kind of puts her back a little bit, but she's a great rider. I watched her a couple different times, and she's doing all the right things. I have a feeling that she's going to be there. It just may take her a little bit to get there, just with the experience and whatnot, because she is very new. Other than that, I did not get to talk to Lane. I hope to get with her at sunset. But Lily, she nabbed both hole shots convincingly. Like she just went out there and rode like she wanted it and was going to take it. I don't know if the Joe Byrd Memorial had anything to do with that. It was motivation for her, but I will say that Lane did keep her close, especially the one moto. She was right there. Like she did not pull a major gap on her. Shelby was there in the starts again. I know Shelby did have a problem. The one moto, I thought she had something go wrong with the front end. She was really struggling the last like half a lap. Yeah. But here she had a motor that was going and she barely made it across the finish line before it let loose. And
when she said that, and you had said something in the group chat as well, but when I heard that, I'm like, okay, they talked to me leaving Ironman that they thought they had a throttle position problem.
Yeah. And they got that figured out.
So in my mind, I was like, well, maybe you already had a engine expiring, but maybe that wasn't the case then.
Well, it might have been both because they did have a problem that he swapped some things around. Her dad, Steve, he swapped some things around, got that figured out. It might have been a precursor. He might have had a crack in that piston already, and that could have been helping a little bit because as it got hot, it cooler and hotter, it was doing different things. So
gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah. So she ends up like Shelby lost a spot late in that first moto kind of because
she was going forward and then she started going backwards.
I know. And then she got a really good start in the second moto. And I thought, okay, here we are. But ends up being a top 5 ride for her. Tegan Bratcher finishes 4th. And then we talked about Neve Shaw, Lane Fryer, and Lillian Plaza, rounding out the top part of the field there, going from top to bottom in the top 5. And it's funny, I had been thinking about Gracie laundry, as a works girl because of the G. She's the 35 G. So the G made me, the letter made me think of works, but obviously not a thing there. So guys, where I was going with this, with the fantasy talk. Oh, and I wanted to ask, is there a Lillian Plaza injury, Brian?
So I talked to Len for a moment, and he was saying that she was having some problems, and I don't know where this came from. Like, I don't know if there was a crash. I don't know what exactly happened or when, but this weekend, at least, she was having some problems with, I believe it was something in her neck or her shoulder that was causing her arms to she was losing some feeling. So I guess she wasn't she was losing some feeling in her arms, and her ability to hold on wasn't great. So I don't know anything behind that. I just know he was talking about, and then she had mentioned it on the podium that maybe it was the podcast that she did there. I know that she had mentioned it someplace that she was having some issues and some problems, and they were going to go and have it checked out this week to see what was going on. Okay. So I hope for her sake that it's nothing major, because I also just seen the TikTok that Emma was going to come over for Sunset. And I know that, they want
I was just going to bring that up.
Yeah. Emma,
that's awesome.
Yeah, Kinsey. But so Emma's coming over if everything works out. I love it. So there's a good opportunity there. So I guess we'll have to wait and see what happens at the doctors or what's divulged at that point. But I don't know the background to that.
Okay, got it. Okay, so now similar topic, but yes, picking up where we stopped at the fantasy talk. So if Landon Korn is going to be this good with pro sport, we got to find something different. So you guys already talked about, maybe picking a spot, which I'm totally open to, but we're going to do something different with that, at least that last tier. So I'm putting the ball in your guys' court. Now I was going to say I know where you're going. If we see Emma's coming, right?
Bingo.
Emma's coming, we do first place in the WMX class. The thing is, as if we're going to do anything but first, we need to do this early enough so that all the players the word's going to get to them that we're not picking a winner. We're picking fourth or third or whatever in whatever class. So we need to commit to this pretty quickly, but I was going to ask you guys for your opinion, and I was going to go on what you guys told me. What do you want to do for that final tier? Because I want it to be interesting, and I want it to be, want there to be some variance, and it's hard to have that right now. Maybe a little predictable.
If you go anything in either Pro Sport or WMX or both of them and just pick any of the 1 through 4, because we've talked about the Pro Sport and the Pro-Am, those guys are smoking fast. There's so many good guys that are there.
So maybe that's what we do then. But I don't want to miss out on the Emma Ray. If Emma Ray is going to be there, I kind of want to have that in there. But otherwise, I would agree. If it wasn't for Emma Ray possibly being here, so maybe we can't decide this tonight.
You know what we should do is every time we're all together on here, have Brian go get his wheel out of his trailer and spin that thing, and we pick a class.
I only have. But I got to upload all the names. Amateur classes.
Yeah, I got to upload all the names though and build the profiles. There's a lot that goes into that.
Oh, come on.
There's a lot that goes into that. But I was going to say, I'd love to do the WMX MRA possibility thing. That would be really fun.
Yes.
But otherwise, we have all the pro sport guys in there. So maybe we pick the third place guy, the guy that's going to finish out the podium there. That would be fun. That would be hard to predict.
Yes.
Maybe that's what we do, because I already got the Pro-Am guys in the game, or pro sport guys in the game. So that would be maybe nice. And then I'm totally open to, we can't get too in the weeds on the amateur classes because we need most of the day to play out leading up to the pro races so that the picks stay open for half the day. But I definitely want to get WMX involved here in the game, as the season plays out here. But maybe we just decided that. Maybe what do you guys think? Third place pro sport. I kind of like that.
I like that.
I'm fine with that, because like I said, there's so many guys that could be, because we've seen them race. There's so many fast guys, and especially Sunset adds another mix to those layers because completely of what it is. Different. So I'm all about that. I think that would be a great choice.
Let's do that. So we're going to go third place pro sport, and then we'll structure it like Rocky Mountain does, where if you're one place off, you'll get, the next best points and 2 off and so on and so forth. I like that, but that'll be fun. I'm already excited about what that prediction looks like, rather than trying to, predict the winner in that class, which Landon Korn has kind of made an easy pick thus far. But then Zach Kazmarek could show up and rain on everybody's parade in that class. So,
there's so many things that could happen. That's what I like about that. The talent's deep.
I love it, man. Yeah. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go third place pro sport there at Sunset Ridge. All right, guys, we got to get out of here. Give me your prediction for Walnut, for Sunset Ridge. What do you got? And I'll start because I feel passionate about this. As long as he's, got all his things squared away, as long as we're trending in the right direction, I'm going to say Mason Jackson gets back on the podium.
Ooh.
He was close last year, finished. It was a triple crown last year, finished in the top 3 in some shorter motos there. I think he's going to be in the mix. Now, obviously we already talked about the fact that Max Lindquist is really good on these rough tracks. And that's his home race. That's, we're from Wisconsin. That's our closest race. He's going to be strong there too. But I would like to think that Mason Jackson is going to be very much in the mix there for that podium.
It is a triple crown?
It is not. No, it's not. Last year.
Not.
Last year.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah. Hot take. Joel goes 1-1. No, I'm kidding.
Oh my God. Scorching. This just then.
I'm going to say Joel, Brandon, Zach. I really think Max is going to do well. But I don't know, the consistency of Zach. It's intriguing. And I don't know. I just have a feeling he's going to do good. It's been a couple rounds now since he was on the podium. So that's what I'm going for.
Brian, Sunset's one of those tracks where if you get out in clean air, you can make some hay while the sun shines, and kind of get away from some guys that are in the pack there. And maybe that's what one of these guys is going to do, probably inevitably, but is going to be able to use that to get to a podium is kind of get away while the rest of the pack kind of messes
all
with
battles.
Themselves. And we've seen that. We've seen it there with many riders over the years. One moto that stands out to me is Nick Janusa a number of years ago, finishing second or third in a moto, but he just sprinted away from the rest of the class there. And Wesley Wolf, we see Wesley Wolf, he's been really good there
if he shows up. Yeah,
that's what I mean.
Yeah, for sure.
What you got, Brian?
That's going to be interesting. I think, like Billy said, Zach is very motivated. I was in his camp after the moto, and he was very upset with himself, and he was very motivated. Like, he's driven. I think that Team USA thing is his motivation, being honest. And he was very disappointed in himself after last round. So I think he's going to be pushing really hard. Man, for some sneaky feeling though, I feel like there's going to be a hiccup in the start at Sunset. I think there's going to be some chaos that ensues. I don't know why.
And mix everything up.
I think I got this weird feeling that there's going to be a hiccup on one of the starts, and it's going to put everybody in freaking sprint mode. And it could be good. It could be normal, or it could turn things upside down. But, if things go status quo, I have to agree with Billy. I'd say, Joel, Brandon, and Zach, but I think there's going to be a hiccup, and I'm going to say maybe Joel, maybe Zach, maybe this will be that moment when Norris or Noah kind of shine, or able to sprint away from some sort of pile up or tangle up and get the pad they need to take it home and help themselves with an overall. It could even be Ulrich. I feel like there's going to be a mix-up. I just got a feeling.
Maybe you're onto something here, but somewhere Max Lindquist is like, didn't you just watch me ride this past weekend, bro?
You know what? And I'm not counting Max out, because Max didn't do anything wrong.
I know.
You know what I mean? Like, Max awesome. This last week, like, he is solid as can be. But I'm just like, I don't know. I have a feeling if something's going to hinge on the start here.
See, and I think that's why and I guess we're all kind of grasping at straws for the exact same topic, right? Joel Hetrick, newsflash, clear number 1. Brandon has established himself as the clear number 2. Max Lindquist, straight up in speed, is the third place guy. He just is. But Zach is right there, and Mason's really good. And now we have Wesley in there. But like to have those guys be in the mix to penetrate that top 3 is what makes it so fun, and it's fun to think about. And
it's a challenge.
I don't want there to be pileups or whatever, but I do want chaos. Like I want an inverted field, right? I want Joel Hetrick at the back and to have to race towards the front.
I don't want anybody to get hurt. Let's be clear.
I agree.
I want nobody to get hurt. I don't want anything serious like that. I just feel like, though, for some reason, we haven't had like that hiccup yet, and something weird. I don't know. I just have a feeling.
You guys might be onto something because, like you said, I really don't want anybody to get hurt, but it would be really fun to watch Joel come from last.
Oh, yeah. Like he told me at Ironman, Carly just says, can't you just start at the back? Yeah, make this kind of fun to watch.
Yeah, because he has a blast too when he has to.
Obviously, he does.
Hey, Billy. We need to take him back to like the days of Malvern and Pymatooning. Make him start backwards on the gate.
Love that venue. Love Sunset Ridge. Love the Pistol
beautiful
family.
Too.
They're amazing. The track is it's a motocross racer's dream is the way I've always thought about it.
Here's a hiccup. So you're local to that. You can testify to this. So we go to a national and we have one track. You've had the pleasure of going to a SF racing weekend track and know how it develops, which is amazing.
Yeah.
What if we get that track, which Billy, how that kind of develops is it's a mix of hard pack where you want it and then sand in other places. It still makes it challenging and still gives you the hiccups and the bumps, but the faces are really good. So you're fast in some areas, but then you're tiptoeing in others. Like it just comes down to line choice, but it's a fast, awesome track.
Think Redbud 05 or 04.
It's same thing. Before all the sand was brought in, the natural developing track. So like if Bob, now we don't have Chad that wants it, dug 2 feet deep. So we get the vet track or whatever they call it. Dude, the track is amazing. Like I love it. It is so fun because you can go on so many different lines and it opens up the racing, I feel like. And, that could be a monkey wrench there too.
Yeah. You're exactly right. I just love that place. Love the people. Again, love the venue.
Yeah. The venue's cool. Just the setting itself is really cool.
It's cool. It's the Pistols' backyard. They open up their backyard to us and that beautiful racetrack. It's an awesome thing. So we got some special stuff going on there. Well, by the time this episode comes out, maybe we'll have made that announcement, but we got some special stuff going on Saturday night there at Sunset Ridge. So we're excited about that. More to come on that. But guys, can't thank you enough for another conversation here. Love these conversations so much. These nights are awesome. I can't believe we're just ripping through these shows and the season so fast. It needs to slow down. But we're coming into the time where Billy gets to come to the races and do some racing and we're getting into the summer mix here and that's an exciting time. So guys, I can't thank you enough. As I always say, I don't got to make this too long, but can't thank you guys enough for these conversations, for your time spent doing this. I appreciate it so much. And I know the listeners do too. So Billy, Brian, I can't thank you guys enough for doing this with me yet again. Love reliving these race weekends and the stories that come from it and the old stories and all the things. Just can't thank you guys enough, man. I live for this stuff.
Yeah, man. Thank you. I look forward to it every time. I have a blast with you guys.
The same sentiments here. I absolutely love these, getting to talk to you guys and rehash what went down and just the memories and everything that has come from this. This has been our lives for a long time. We all have a lot invested and have a lot of friends and memories at the track. So, I mean, it just kind of feels like home.
We live for it, man. And I'm very proud and grateful that, this shared passion that we have brings us together in this way and we can share these conversations. Because like Brian, you always say, I could do this without the recorder and have the same conversations and have just as much fun. So the fact that we can have these conversations and share them with others that feel like they're a part of the conversation, that's a special thing. And I don't take that lightly. I'm super grateful for you guys. And again, all your time and everything that you do for us here at the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. So guys, thank you one more time. Looking forward to everything that's to come. But for tonight, we're going to call it a wrap on our Muddy Creek Race Review podcast, the Joe Byrd Memorial Muddy Creek National. We're going to wrap that one up, call that one in the books, and move on to Sunset Ridge. So guys, thanks so much for everything. Have a good night, and looking forward to doing this again in a few short weeks.
Yeah, man. Sounds good. Have a good night, guys.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great night. It's been a pleasure.
Awesome, guys. That's Billy Cottage and Brian Jenkins signing off on the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast here, wrapping up our Muddy Creek coverage. Have a good night, guys. Thanks so much for everything. Next up, Sunset Ridge, our favorite stop on the tour. And be sure to clear your schedule for Saturday evening at the track as Digger Doug Gust, Chad Wienen, and other guests are set to headline our Digging Deep live show right there at the track at Sunset Ridge. Cannot wait for that. Major thanks to Billy Cottage and Brian Jenkins for joining the show yet again this week as this week's featured guests. Thanks to producer Dallas Jansen, my brother, for all his hard work. Thanks to my wife, Brooke, and thanks to AMA officials Joe Messina and Harv Whipple. Thanks to all of our donors, and a special shout out and thank you to Motomom Designs. Megan has been absolutely killing it on the camera for us this year. So thank you, Megan, for all you do for us in the sport. Thanks to all of our partners, CST Tires. Go to shop.csttires.com today. Yamaha, thanks to Blue Crew. Thanks to SSI Decals, Valvoline, DID Racing Chain, Lauderdale Steel Enterprises and Concrete Supply, DP Brakes, and Ultimate Poly Products. UPP Racing. Use code DIGGINGDEEP15 at uppracing.com. Support the brands that support our show, and don't forget to use those codes to save. Find it all on our website, and be sure to click that Rocky Mountain ATVMC banner for all your gear and parts needs and help us out. And most of all, thanks to you guys for listening. You can shop our Digging Deep merch at shop.diggingdeepatvmx.com. And we're in the midst of dropping a new shirt as we speak. Our Never Growing Up tee is available for pre-order now. So you're definitely going to want to get on that if you're not making the trip to Sunset Ridge for our live show. This shirt features the names of legendary guests that we've had on the show, like Gus, Natalie, Wimmer, Denton, Bird, Creamer, Hitt, Wienen, Hetrick, Brown, Ford, DeNoble, Ellis, Gibson, Creech, and the list goes on. So be sure to check that out now at shop.diggingdeepatvmx.com, or if you're making the trip to Sunset Ridge for our live show, the shirts will be available there as well, but get them while they are still in stock. They're available for a limited time only. Find all things Digging Deep ATV Fantasy related at atvfantasy.com. Congrats to our round 4 winners. There was an array of them, including Billy Cottage and Brian Jenkins, who were on the show tonight. So congrats to those guys and the rest of our winners. Leave us a voicemail and we'll play it on the show, 920-569-3519. If you're looking for another easy way to help support us, visit our website and click the Patreon or buy me a coffee buttons. This allows you to set up a one-time or monthly contribution to support our efforts. Follow the show on social media, Digging Deep ATVMX Podcast, and myself, Cody Jansen, for additional content coverage and more fun stuff as we are about to reach the midpoint of this 2026 season already. Unbelievable. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Amazon Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and more. Wherever you find podcasts, you'll find the Digging Deep ATVMX podcast. All episodes, additional podcast providers, sponsor links, and discount codes, show merchandise, fantasy info, and more can all be found on our website, diggingdeepatvmx.com. So check that out today. Be a friend, tell a friend. Please download, subscribe, rate, review, and share. And with that, for Billy Cottage, Brian Jenkins, Brooke Jansen, Dallas Jansen, and I'm your host, Cody Jansen. Thanks for listening to and making us the most listened to podcast in ATV racing, with more than 300,000 downloads last month in 151 total countries. Until next time, thanks for joining us in Digging Deep with the Stars of ATV Motocross. Come see us at Sunset Ridge with Digger Doug Gust, Chad Wienen, and more. Can't wait. See you there. Things are crashing and burning here at the Digging Deep podcast, much like the Titanic.
Those guys were hauling ass, for real.
I remember watching Doug Gus, I don't know who it was, Steel City, running the same times Friday afternoon as James Stewart was on Sunday back then. It was mental. I've never seen quads go that fast.
Quadlers are freaking gnarly.